I'm going to be your tour guide today. Now, does everybody here have a pair of 3D glasses? If you don't, wave your hand around frantically in the air and we can get you some. Now, you won't need them on right now, but don't worry, we'll tell you when to put on. We'll tell you when to put them on. It'll happen a little bit later. Everybody, if you're traveling with small children whose feet cannot reach the floor, scoot them in towards the center of the tram, away from the outside gates. That will be the safest place for them while we travel and explore the lot today. Look off to your right-hand side. Those are our metro sets. Sets built to look like they come from all the great cities of the world. That is just one example of the many sets that we're going to get a chance to explore while we're out on the lot today. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got 400 acres worth of the world's largest active television studio out here today. So sit back, relax, and we will get on the road in just a couple of moments.
All right, fire 'em up! We go live in 5. It's time for ignition.
Now wave goodbye to everyone out there. Yeah! Alright, so everybody give a big warm round of applause for our driver today, Bubba, alright? Come on, let's hear it for him. Let's hear it, huh? Now you're excited for me, you really like Bubba, alright? But I've got a special co-host with me today. You're gonna recognize him from shows like Saturday Night Live and Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. Can you guess who it is?
Oh, hi there. You made it. Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure that you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guide,
Alberto.
and the greatest ride, Bubba. You're the best. I love it. Even though
Alberto
owes me $5. I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
Yes, a couple of safety rules for everybody here today. Rule number 1, look up. You see this cord running down the center of the tram? Well, if you have any problems today, say audio-visual problems, if you drop something off the side of the tram, or if you have a medical emergency, just give a tug on that cord and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe to do so. No standing while the tram is in motion today. Keep your arms and legs inside the tram at all times. And finally, if you are traveling with small children whose feet cannot reach the floor, scoot them in towards the center of the tram. We don't want them losing a favorite toy off the side of the tram or you losing a favorite child, so the center will be the safest place for them out here today. Now, in Universal Studios, we have been making movies for over 100 years. The studio was founded by a man named Carl Laemmle. He had this idea that he could make an entire city that was just dedicated to making movies, and that's what Universal is today. We've got our own zip code, our own police department, even our own fire department, which you'll see on the right-hand side here in just a minute. Now, as we've looked over Universal's illustrious history of filmmaking, we recently rediscovered this old classic from the 1930s. Can you guess what it is?
I have the room ready for you and Mrs. Barrett. Thank you, Will.
Did you hear that? Mrs. Barrett.
Not quite, darling, but soon. Very, very soon. Hello.
Yes?
Have a bottle of champagne sent to the room at once. And make sure that we are not disturbed for any reason.
Alright, so look, obviously this wasn't actually an old film from the 1930s. This is something we shot right here on the front lot of Universal Studios. Now, we are coming down from the theme park and we are entering into the front lot. Here to welcome you to it is Carson Daly.
Hi everybody, I'm Carson Daly from NBC's The Voice. I want to welcome you to the Universal Front Lot. Our show is filmed on stage 12. It happens to be the largest soundstage on the Universal lot. Take a look.
Yes, soundstage number 12 is right off to your left-hand side. As Carson said, that is where they filmed the television program The Voice on NBC. And as he said, that is the largest soundstage of the lot at over 29,000 square feet. Now, it was built in 1929, and some of the most classic movie scenes across the history of cinema have been filmed there. Here are a couple examples. Check that out. That was built inside of soundstage number 12. That's how big it is on the inside. what it looks like inside of soundstage number 12 when there is nothing on the inside of it. Alright, now look off to your left-hand side and you will see sound stages 24 and 25. That is where they film CSI Crime Scene Investigation. Off to your right is Soundstage 28. That's the oldest soundstage on the lot. It was used in 1925 for the Phantom of the Opera, and since then it's been home to a lot of other creepy characters like the Bride of Frankenstein, Mother from Psycho, a T-Rex from The Lost World Jurassic Park, and the Grinch from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. To your left, you'll see Stage 27. They're currently filming the Mindy Project on Stage 27. Weeds with Mary Louise Parker wrapped up shooting its finale there last summer, and Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks shot there. That's one of my favorite movies. They built Mission Control for Apollo 13 inside of soundstage number 27. Universal Studios Hollywood is a part of NBC Universal, which is one of the largest entertainment companies in the world. It not only has all of Universal Studios, but also the entire NBC family of networks, which includes NBC, E, Sci-Fi, USA, Bravo, Telemundo, the Golf Channel, CNBC, MSNBC, the Weather Channel, Oxygen, and NBC Sports. So anytime you're watching TV, there's a pretty good chance you're watching something that was filmed out here on the back lot, or at least developed out here. For example, Chelsea Lately shoots out in soundstage number 1 towards the front of the front lot. And to your right, you will see sound stages 42, 43, and 44, and that is where we shoot the television program Parenthood. Do we have any aspiring actors or actresses out here on the tram today? Well, if so, look off to your left-hand side. These are our production bungalows. Now, these don't look like much on the outside, but on the inside, some of the top writers, producers, and directors in all of Hollywood come here to work every single day. So, if you ever get called in here for an audition, you know that you're having a pretty good day. For example, out here we have the home of Illumination Entertainment. These are the people who make Despicable Me, Despicable Me 2, Hop, The Lorax, all of those animated films. We also have here the home of Hasbro Entertainment. They're in charge of all the Transformers movies, and they also made Battleship with Rihanna and Liam Neeson, came out last year. In fact, outside of Hasbro right now is Mr. Potato Head. He's saying hello to everybody who stops by. After that, we have the offices of the Dino De Laurentiis production company. These are the people who make the television program Hannibal on NBC. Now, those offices where the Dino De Laurentiis production company currently resides are the old offices of Alfred Hitchcock. He used to come out here to the lot every single day to work.
Who said you could move into that office? I said, no, I can never be in Hitchcock's office. That should be a shrine, a museum.
Very exciting, just to know that he was there and walk by and know he was in that office.
Hitchcock has influenced every director. And I saw Hitchcock once walking around the commissary.
Hitchcock had his bungalow on the lot. I used to go see Alfred Hitchcock.
I loved working with him. I highly respect him. He really understood fear and terror. Birds? That was a really scary movie.
Birds? Oh, man. That had me froze like 10 years.
Psycho, of course. Very good. The all-time great masterpiece. Hitchcock was master.
Alright, well the area we've just left behind, that's called the front lot. Now that's where we have sound stages. You know, we shoot smaller sets out there like the inside of a television program like we would for Parenthood, or the inside of The Voice where we need a live studio audience. But what happens when we need to film something bigger than that? What happens if we need to film something huge, something that takes place over an entire city block? Well, that's when we come out here to the back lot. Out here, we like to say that the world is always just around the corner, and we've got sets that are large enough to look like they come from New York, London, Beijing, Chicago, all the major cities of the United States and the world. We're gonna get a chance to explore them right now. Look off to your right-hand side. You will see the street that is running parallel with us is called New York Street. That is because it was designed to look like it came from the heart of the Big Apple, downtown New York City. Now, my co-host, Jimmy Fallon, is from New York City. Let me see if I can bring him in live via satellite to talk about it. Jimmy?
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there by an old woman. Tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey, buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey, I'm walking here. Hey, it's cool, guys. I was just, just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
That's right, so a lot of your favorite television shows and movies across the years have shot here. NCIS and Criminal Minds both shot out here, as well as The Amazing Spider-Man with Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield. In addition to that, the Prestige with Hugh Jackman and Christopher Nolan shot out, or Christian Bale shot out here. They transformed these sets into something that looked like turn-of-the-century London. Now let me explain to you a little bit about how these sets work. You know, these sets look incredibly realistic on the outside, but on the inside, there is nothing. That is because these sets are what we call facades. That means that we only build the fronts and the sides of these buildings, nothing on the inside. Your imagination needs to fill in the rest. So it looked like real buildings up there on your screen. That is what they look like on the inside. Just wood scaffolding, exposed concrete, and basically nothing more. Again, we only need to build exactly what the camera can see, nothing more than that. Your imagination tends to fill in the rest. Now, look off to your left-hand side. What is the purpose of this big painted mural we have over here? Well, this acts as a backstop to the sets. That way, we don't see the Universal tram driving around in the background whenever we're doing the tour out here. It also is a sound barrier, so we don't catch all this noise coming in from the park. We don't want to hear all that fun when we're recording a dramatic scene for CSI out here. Now, it's painted with an effect called trompe-l'oeil. That was French, if you like my French. Trompe-l'oeil means to fool the eye, and it's, what that means is that they paint it with a lot of depth, a lot of shadows, so that from a distance it looks three-dimensional. Now, you might think this looks kind of fake up front, but you'd be surprised how effective it is in practice. Check this out.
Raise the dog! Like that?
All right, this is from Bruce Almighty. It was filmed right here on the back lot, and look in the upper right-hand corner. That's the painted mural that we're passing by right now. So here's the thing. In this scene where it just passes by for 1/2 second, we don't actually notice it, and our mind reads it as looking realistic enough, so we say, all right, it's probably a real city, when in reality it's just this painted mural that we're passing by off on the left-hand side here. So, we're fooling your eye just a little bit. Great. Beautiful. Now look at how high these sets stretch, nearly 50 feet into the air at some points. If you've ever been inside New York City or Chicago or any other large city for that matter, you know how it can just feel like the buildings go up and up forever. Well, likewise out here in Universal, we want to make it feel like we're in the middle of a real city, but we don't actually want to build buildings that are 20 or 30 stories tall. So we build them about 50 feet tall. We figured out that if they're that tall, the camera doesn't tend to see the tops of the buildings. That's what the goal is, that it doesn't see the tops of them in certain circumstances. And we figured out that that actually makes it feel like we're in, downtown of a large city. Now we can not only make these buildings look like New York, we can also make them look like Chicago, which is what we did for the Blues Brothers.
When the Pinto fell and we saw it land and make this big hole in the street, that was on the back lot. We dropped it from a crane. We dig like that in Chicago, you're
When people ask me all of the movies I've ever done, what is the most satisfying, the most fun, I've got to say Blues Brothers. We got to sing, we got to dance, got to drive, and train with the best stunt people in the world, and got to be an actor and a writer. So it was a good piece of work.
Danny called John America's Guest because just you walk into anybody's house.
During the shooting of the movie, John was missing. We couldn't find him.
Danny went off looking for him, saw a light on in this one house and knocked on the door.
They said, sir, we're doing a movie down here. We're looking for one of our actors. Oh, John, yeah, he's on my couch. He came in, he had a snack a couple hours ago. He's sleeping. He was America's Guest. I mean, literally that happened.
Now we can not only make these sets look like New York, we can not only make them look like Chicago, we can also make them look like London. That's what we did for Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. They actually came out here and shot out here for that film, but they wanted to make it look like London, and they were able to do that. You know, now we're always trying to fool you into believing that these sets are something that they aren't. We're kind of liars out here in the movie industry, I guess, you know? But here's the thing, we've already actually fooled you once when it comes to these sets. You know, when you saw Jimmy Fallon walking down New York Street, he wasn't even walking down New York Street. He actually filmed that scene on the Universal Virtual Stage. Take a look at this.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No.
So, while it looked like Jimmy Fallon was actually on New York Street, in fact he was on the Universal Virtual Stage. This is a green screen that we have.
Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey! I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
Look at that. They were able to digitally remove all of that stuff and then put in New York, our New York sets in the background.
I was just, just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal lot.
So the way they do that is they have two separate camera crews. One of them comes out to our New York sets. The other one comes out
to New York City. Hey, I'm walking here!
The other one is on the Universal Virtual Stage, and they sync up the camera movements so they're doing the exact same thing at the exact same moment, and then it feels like we're actually out there in the middle of New York City. Well, these sets were designed with the help of legendary film director Steven Spielberg. Another classic director we worked with in our time at Universal is Peter Jackson. He's the man behind the most recent King Kong.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up the edge. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island. It's great to have you along for the ride. Now we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island. We really are not afforded to the character personality. He's so much more than a monster. In fact, he's not a monster, even though he is an incredibly majestic, ancient creature. He's a force of nature. He's old, he's wise, he's proud, he's fierce, and obviously he has a heart. The most important feature of Kong are his eyes. Kong's eyes are wonderfully expressive. They're full of emotion. His eyes are like a window into his personality and his heart. He's had an enormous number of encounters with his foes, the T-Rexes and the various dinosaurs on Skull Island, so he's been beaten up, scarred, chewed up, spat out by these dinosaurs at various times, and he wears the scars of a lot of ancient battles. The end. Is the difference years. It was so sure.
where the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions. There's creatures coming at them. They're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working in a movie, we always know I'm looking straight ahead, looking at the shot that we're working on.
Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts because it's one giant shot. It's trams driving along through Skull Island because where the camera's from.
This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away.
We're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a ride.
All right, everybody. Well, you will not be needing your 3D glasses for the rest of the trip today, so go ahead and set them aside, and we'll collect them from you once we finish up at the end here. Next up, we are going to see some of our most famous picture cars. You know, anytime a car appears on screen, we've got to make sure that it looks really awesome, that it's completely ready for whatever it is that we need to prep it for, and we've got some of them coming up on your left-hand side. Now, if anybody here is a fan of Back to the Future, go down to the lower lot today. We have a museum there called the NBC Universal Experience, and we have got the original DeLorean from Back to the Future on display there. So, it's right across the way from Transformers. Go and check it out a little bit later today. Next up, we're going to visit a little island off the coast of Costa Rica.
To Jurassic Park.
Yes, here we've got some of the props and sets from the Jurassic Park film. Rumors are that there might be a Jurassic Park 4 in the works, so we've got a special treat for you here today. Some of the original dinosaurs in their cages. Check them out, everybody. Sorry, I'm not seeing dinosaurs here right now. I'm sure there's no reason to be worried about that. Uh-oh! Sorry about that, guys. I had no idea those dinosaurs were going to jump out like that. Believe me, we'll have a stern talking to them once, you know, the tour is finished up. Now listen, the best parts of all the Jurassic Park films happened with the help of weather effects. You know, who could forget the T-Rex's foot squishing into the mud in the first film, or this classic scene from Jurassic Park: The Lost World. Now, fun factoid, that mountain cliff is not a mountain cliff at all, but it is actually a parking structure on the Universal front lot that they dressed up to look like a mountain cliff. Well, it's always raining at the most dramatic moments in every movie, and here to talk about weather on the back lot is Al Roker.
Hi everybody, here's today's forecast for the Universal Backlot. It's going to be sunny and dry in 6 Points, Texas. Cool and cloudy in Little Brook. Expect snow and sleet on New York Street. We've got a high chance of fine and precipitation for Skull Island, Abigail, and Island of God. That's your forecast for today. Now here's a look at what's going on in your neck of the woods.
Thanks, Al. I'll take it from here. Well, out here on the back lot, we are in Old Mexico. Old Mexico is obviously designed to look like an ancient Mexican village, and out here we are expecting a downpour. I mean, it is going to be raining hard out here today. Watch this. Watch this. There we go, you doubted. It rained. Now here's the thing, when we need it to rain in the movies, we can't just sit around and hope that it rains all day long, so instead we have to make it rain, not with $100 bills, but with a sprinkler system. We put up a sprinkler system that shoots water straight up into the air. By the time the water falls down to the ground, it looks like it's coming down naturally, the same way it might if we were in an actual rainstorm. But that is not the only incredible weather effect we can pull off here on the back lot. Watch this. We're able to create that effect by pumping thousands of gallons of water out from the top of the hill. And of course we recycle that water every single day into the drinking fountains at Universal Studios Hollywood. It helps the flavor, it does! No? Okay. We're still in Old Mexico right now. Old Mexico is featured in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, as well as episodes of Community and Shameless. As we move forward though, we'll be hopping just north of the border from Mexico into Texas. The area that we're entering right now is called Six Points, Texas. There's some of our Western sets built back during the heyday of Westerns. Now all of your favorite cowboys have walked down these roads at one time or another. Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne, Clint Eastwood. In fact, see if you can recognize this old-fashioned Western duel that was shot right here on Six Points.
This town ain't big enough for the both of us, Jimmy Fallon.
Well, I ain't going anywhere, Jimmy Fallon.
Now look here. Nice folks in this tram don't want no trouble. They just want to check out 6 Points, one of the oldest sets on the Universal lot.
I hear this is where John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart shot a few of their westerns.
That's right. That's where I aim to shoot you.
Looks like we got ourselves a Mexican standoff. Lucky shot.
Now what say you mount up and get out of town while the getting's good?
All right. Well, I'll see you again, fella.
Oh, you can count on it, fella. Again.
This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
We just have to talk it out, that's all.
All right, Jimmy. I think we're going to mosey on out of here as well. Now, as I said, Universal has a great history with Western stars over the years. Check it out.
You're just going to start things up here. And I am.
How dare you hit that man?
Next up, we are going to visit Little Europe. Little Europe was built back in 1927 for Universal's production of All Quiet on the Western Front. They needed a small European village to film in, and there are not many small European villages in Southern California, so they built one out here on the back lot. Now, since the days of All Quiet on the Western Front, the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean films, as well as episodes of True Blood and Curb Your Enthusiasm, have all filmed out here. Now, we can make these sets look like they come from any country in all of Europe. Germany, Switzerland, France, or Germany or Switzerland, lots of different countries is my point. We just have to change the language everyone is speaking, we change the costumes they're wearing, and presto.
Mi chiamo Jimmy Fallon e tu una grossa bottiglia di vino. Mamma mia!
Je m'appelle Jimmy Fallon. Je voudrais tes baguettes.
Mon chéri, non! Hallo, ich bin Jimmy Fallon. Schnitzel. Ich glaub, die steht auf mich.
And these sets were also used for the television program Heroes when they made it look like India.
The wrong fare, the wrong time. Will you ever know what really happened?
No, I spoke to him 2 days ago. He was convinced someone was following him, trying to steal his research. He died because of his fears.
That's crazy, is it? The man left his family, discredited his career to chase wild theories halfway around the world. Where are you going?
To his apartment, to get his papers, his research. He was this close to finding the first of them, his patient Zero. He tracked him to Queens, New York.
Right, well, next up we are going to pass some of the sets from the television program Home and Family on the Hallmark Channel. It's going to be on your left-hand side here. They built a house on the lot about 9 months ago. You can see it right there. Sometimes they film out in the back here, sometimes they film out inside of the house, and I'll show you what it looks like right now. That's right. Home and Family is a cooking, home decoration show. You know, they have musical guests, they have celebrity guests. Now, off to your right-hand side, if you're in the first 2 cars, you might have to look behind you, is Mediterranean Square. Those were also a part of our Little Europe sets. You know, Universal made a lot of monster movies early on. There always had to be a scene where the angry European villagers demanded the monster be burned at the stake. That's where a lot of them happened.
Listen now, the monster. He's in the woods. Get out the bloodhounds. Raise all the men you can, lock the women indoors, and wait for me. Are you ready? Take your torches and go!
Alright, well, we are now entering into Soundstage number 50. Soundstage 50 was used for a recent episode of the television program Bones.
Look, there's sweets.
That's with the FBI?
Yeah, we're here about the remains.
That's him. Right over there.
You alright?
Alright, so as you can see, this area has been designed to look like a San Francisco subway station, and we will pull in here to get just a couple of photos. Watch out, this could be the big one. Next up, we are going to visit Cabot Cove from the television show Murder, She Wrote. Now, occasionally we have heard reports of sharks in the water out here at Cabot Cove, but I would not be worried about that if I were you. From what I understand, the shark infestation has been eradicated. In fact, we've even got a police diver in the water right now who's swimming around making sure that everything is okay. So his name is Tim, and I had this idea. When Tim comes up, everybody say, "Hi, Tim." It'll be like a little bit of a surprise for him. "Hi, Tim, how's it going?" "Tim, you see any sharks out there in the water today?" I'm sorry, what was that, Tim? I think what he was trying to say was no, there are no sharks in the water. Woo! Good thing, otherwise we would be in serious danger right now, right? Listen, we're just gonna pull up next to these flammable gas tanks over here. I mean, what could go wrong here, right? Am I right, huh?
Sitting here with the world famous shark who played Jaws, here to talk about what it was like making that movie in the 70s, and what it's like being a shark today in Hollywood. First off, I'm a huge fan. Thanks for sitting down with us today. One of the legends of this film is that it's ancient between you and director Steven Spielberg. What was it like acting with Richard Dreyfuss? He could be difficult. Don't want to talk about that. I understand. But let's talk about the future, okay? You have a great gig here. You look like you're smiling, coming out, scaring the tourists, getting all wet, going back under. Day in, day out, it's kind of get a little tedious. Do you want to do something else? Do you want to go to maybe a comedy, sitcom, TV maybe? Jaws in order? Okay, guys, I'll check in with you guys later and enjoy the rest of the tour. Maybe have any chum. All right. Well, look off to your left-hand side, and you will see an area called Elm Street. It's one of our neighborhood sets on the lot. It was used in, let's see here, what was it used in? Parenthood, filmed out there, as well as Hancock with Will Smith and Charlize Theron. Off to your right, you will see our Chicken Ranch. Our Chicken Ranch was featured in a recent episode of The Mentalist, as well as the classic musical, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. That's actually what we call a practical set, which means that we can film inside of it as well. Off to your left, you will see just the beginning of Wisteria Lane from Desperate Housewives. That is that classic set that goes all around the way there. I'll show you what it looks like up on your screen.
If there is one thing everyone in suburbia can appreciate, it's a good neighbor.
What the heck? Let's move back.
Next up, we are going to see some sets from director Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
It's challenging because the logistics were challenging. We had 11 stages occupied at one time on the Universal lot. One of them was just for putting...
Hey everybody, I think that we've got something hanging out of the tram right now, and we gotta pull it back in for safety's sake. Do you know what card's in? I think, yeah, there we go. Just try to keep it pulled back in. We have to do that for safety. Appreciate it, guys.
Who's into their makeup every day. And so I felt like it was one of those extravaganzas from the 30s or 40s. Sets that were inspired by Dr. Seuss, brought to life, made functional enough that, you know, shoot on them, actors can climb on them, clips off them. It makes me so proud that it's become this kind of evergreen, and that every Christmas it rolls around and it means something to a lot of kids.
That's right. In order to construct these sets, our filmmakers needed over 2 million linear feet of styrofoam, and they had to make enough artificial snow to cover 9 football fields. But on the back lot, Whoville had to put up with a lot more than just a mean old Grinch. Out here, they needed to live next to a real crazy person. I'm sorry, that's not something where I was going for. They needed to live next to a real wacko. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Gosh, what's the word? You know, they needed to live next to a somebody who's what's the word? I can't. Anyway, look, it doesn't matter. Here we've got some of the most famous sets in all of Universal's history. The Bates Motel down below, and the home of Norman Bates and his mother up top.
We all go on a match sometimes.
Alright, well, next up we are going to visit one of the most elaborate sets ever built. This is the crack scene from Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds. It's pretty neat, so we're actually going to pull a track to a stop, and when we do, feel free to stand up and take a couple of pictures if you like. In the meanwhile, here is Steven Spielberg and his production designer, Rick Gardner. They're going to talk about how they brought this incredible sequence to life on the big screen. Feel free to stand up now and take a couple pictures if you like.
The airplane is perfectly set that is all designed around a vision. Again, I sit down to talk about the War of the Worlds. I thought, what if the 747 goes down? You're right in that big deal. Because it's just something you don't see. You're doing good.
Robbie, get in. Get in.
Now that's an actual Boeing 747 you see off to your left-hand side there. It was bought and destroyed specifically for this scene in the film. You know, now, it wasn't easy getting that thing on the back lot. You know, they had to break it up into these huge pieces. That tailpiece that you see there, that was a doozy getting it onto the back lot. They had to attach it to helicopters, fly it onto the back lot, and drop it down where it sits today. Go off to your right-hand side, and you'll see a log cabin that you ought to recognize. That's right, that log cabin was featured in the film The Great Outdoors with John Candy. It was also featured in episodes of Desperate Housewives and Coach, as well as the movie Shooter with Mark Wahlberg. Now, what is that big blue monstrosity out there? That is an area called Falls Lake, and it's a place where we can make a really incredible combination of things that are happening live on set and things we do later on with the help of computer-generated imagery. We can fill up that large concrete basin with water if we want to, which makes it feel like we're out in the middle of the ocean, or at least in the middle of a very large lake. After that, we can actually, we can choose to do something with the backdrop. We could paint something on the backdrop like we did here. We could build something in front of it like we did here for Jurassic Park 3. But the most common use for it is as a blue screen, like you see it right now, or sometimes a green screen, like you'll see here in Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey and Morgan Freeman. We can digitally insert something into the shot. That's what we had to do here, what we needed Morgan Freeman and Jim Carrey to be walking on water. Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio shot out here when the van is backing off the bridge in slow motion. That's what they shot it. Deja Vu with Denzel Washington also shot out here. Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides shot out here. Deja Vu with Denzel Washington also shot out here. Now we can recreate all of the effects of the sea out here, like wind and waves. We have wind makers, we've got wave makers out here. I'll show you a couple of completed scenes that were shot out here on Falls Lake. So, listen guys, the tour is coming to an end, and you know, I've loved us being together, really I have, but we both know this couldn't last forever, you know. You gotta go out to the park, I gotta stay here, and believe me, it's not you, it's me. Like, I don't even want to be in a relationship with anybody right now, you know? So, I think I'm gonna have to break it off and end the tour. Oh gosh, I know that hurts, but listen, in order to ease the pain of the breakup, I'm gonna bring back my co-host, Jimmy Fallon, and he's gonna sing us out in style.
Well, I can't believe it. We've made it to the end of our tour, you guys. How about
Alberto, your tour guide?
And
Bubba.
Weren't they the best?
Yes.
Hey, before we go, I'd like to sing you a little song I made up. I was just 5 years old. It's called Tramtastic. We had a real good time together. Now the ride is done. We saw some crazy cool stuff, and we had a lot of fun. This tram has made its final stop. Don't be sad and blue, 'cause there's still one more thing that I'd like to say to you. Have a tramtastic day.
Yes, everybody, listen, thank you for coming out on the tour today. To our annual pass holders, thank you so much for joining us. And if you're not an annual pass holder, be sure to stop by the Universal Trading Company on your way out today to find out how you can upgrade today's pass into an annual pass and join us year-round. And if you get an annual pass, be sure to come by next spring when we will open our newest attraction, Despicable Me Minions Mayhem. That'll be a lot of fun. Everybody, let's have a big round of applause for Bubba, our driver. Give it up for Bubba. Yes! Yes! Now listen everybody, the park is open until 10 tonight, so get in all the fun that you want to do before then and enjoy the rest of your day at Universal Studios Hollywood, the entertainment capital of LA.
Just step as you exit the tram, and everything will be alright. Come on, have a tramtastic day. Have a tramtastic night. Just watch your step as you exit the tram, and everything will be alright. Just the dads now, and everything will be alright. Just the moms, and everything will be alright. Just yours.
That's how you do it.
Okay, have a tramtastic day. Have a tramtastic